Picture this. You open your laptop up on 2 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon. Palms sweaty, mouth spaghetti, bars. You log into your favorite email of choice and click the join meeting link. Anything but Google is sacrilege. Butthole clenched, your insides toss and turn as you try to hold in that nervous poo. The anxiety of the next 45 minutes to an hour ahead suck every ounce of spit from your throat. And guess what? You forgot to bring a glass of water, didn't you? Hi, hello there. Is this Sarah? Yeah. You wish the ground would open up and swallow you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the average interview experience. A performative car crash where you gotta make that one PowerPoint presentation you did in college on the benefits of the moringa plant sound like one Secret Service debrief to the Chief of Staff at the White House. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about why interviews are a humiliation ritual. I did it. A humiliation. Do you know how hard it is to say a humiliation? Anyway, cue the video. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Personally Invested, the channel dedicated to helping you build a lifestyle you love living today whilst investing for your tomorrow. I personally hate channels that waste time, so here's an overview of what we're going to be covering, and feel free to skip to the part you actually care about. Ready? Let's go. So why should you listen to a stranger on the internet? Well, on the screen there are a few points as to why. Feel free to pause or skip, it doesn't matter. Just know that I'm genuine and down to earth. So how can I claim that interviews are a humiliation ritual? Such a tongue twister. I dare you to try and say that 5 times fast. Well, first and foremost, let's take a look at your resume. The first step of embarrassment along this long journey that is trying to get a job. That's where the problem begins. You've got to take whatever life experience you've had so far and make it sound that you know just enough to do a good job, which in many cases is impossible because you need a prior experience which you can't get unless you've had the job before. You see what I'm saying? Catch-22, rock in a hard place, snail in a fast race. Boss. So where does this leave us? You end up going on a downward spiral, seeing how far you can stretch the truth on your non-existent to barely relevant experience so you look more appealing to recruiters, but not so much so that if they were to question you on your skill set in the interview, that you will be exposed. I mean, how many of us have put strong project management skills on our resumes when in reality the only project management experience you've had is barely passing your group assignment where one person never turns up, someone has no clue what's going on, and you end up doing all the work anyways? Shh, come here. Listen, between us friends, I know a couple of you have probably written qualified in digital marketing on your resume, but the closest thing you got to a qualification in digital marketing is the time you got scammed by a Facebook ads course promising to refund you in 30 days if you didn't see these results. Yeah, I know you never got your money back. Sigh. Alas, resumes are one of the most cringy yet most important things you need to do to even get a chance of your application being seen. Because if you don't do it right, you're going to end up at the bottom of the pile of a long sea of hopeful human beings just wanting to put food on the table in this sad economy. Now that you finished typing up that mythical tale of the version of yourself that you wish existed, I don't know how you can even look at yourself in the mirror. You get the honor of joining thousands of applications that will be silently rejected by LinkedIn recruiters around the world. Let's be honest. Applying is a numbers game. I know that from personal experience, so I don't get too attached to a job whenever I apply. I know it's not because I'm necessarily that bad. I just know that there's a lot of other people who are equally or even more qualified who are applying. Therefore, you need to put in the work. You ain't getting a job, let alone an interview, unless you're sending off hundreds, if not thousands of job applications just for you to get aired. And this is even if you've got a decent resume. Man, can you imagine if you had the same success rate in other areas of life? Like, imagine if the only thing you were allowed to eat was eggs sunny side up, but the only thing you had to cook was a stainless steel pan. You're starving to death before you even reach the end of the month, because you and I both know the only thing you're serving up is scrambled eggs. And that's what it's like in the job market right now for Gen Z. Like, real talk. Society did not equip our generation to succeed in the workplace, like it did for millennials and Gen X and baby boomers, by the way. Gone are the days where your college degree meant a stable job for life. But instead, people are getting crippled with hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt to get degrees in jobs that AI is actually replacing right now as we speak. Your English literature major could have landed your job in HR 20 years ago, where the minimum requirement on the job spec was you being able to spell your name correctly. But now even the smartest heads among us, with 3-year degrees in computer science, finance, and engineering, can't even land entry-level positions at your local Walmart. I mean, what kind of life do we live where 17 and 18-year-olds are being scammed into lifelong debt that you can't even declare bankruptcy on, by the way, when they're barely able to drive? And the biggest purchase that you've probably made in your life up until that point is a sold-out ticket to a concert. They say stuff like, "Oh, you'll barely notice the payments on your income. It's only after you reach a certain level of income." In the UK, at least, in America, you're paying that regardless. If you got money or you don't, they want their money. And trust me, I'm going to rant about the criminal injustice that is student loans in another video, because that predatory shillelagh should be illegal. I'm gonna need that for this part.
Dear Timmy, congratulations. Among the thousands of applications we didn't read, yours had a purple border, which happened to be Meg from Recruiting's favorite color. So you've been given the opportunity to embarrass yourself via virtual interview.
At least that's what the email would say if they were being honest about the screening process. Because I bet you the majority of resumes that actually made it were probably either recommendations, headhunted, or returning applicants. Fast forward to the actual day of the interview. Without fail, I promise that the very first question that will come off of their lips is some ambiguous rubbish like,
"Tell me about yourself. Why did you apply for this job?"
To which you prepared some spiel about why the company's values align to yours and you can see yourself growing here professionally. Like, come on, bro. You and I both know that the only reason you're applying for this job is because you need the money. That's it. Nothing else. Honestly, the power imbalance is so ridiculous when you think about it. Because depending on the interviewer or interviewers, should I say, that you end up speaking to, you can get peppered with the most heinous of questions. And they get to sit there and watch you stutter and sweat and slur your words and space out whilst they're probably sitting there thinking, "A dance, monkey, a dance." I personally hate the performance anxiety you get, because depending on how badly you need that job, you can end up tying your whole self-worth into the outcome of that interview, which makes you second guess every syllable you utter, and you end up checking for visual cues on their faces as to whether you said the right things. These days, I'm blessed to have a somewhat stable job, so I tell myself that it's not that deep, and this is just a practice interview for the next one. And on the one hand, that's helped me reduce the level of pressure I place on myself, but in the same vein, I've still got to go out there and do this again if this doesn't go well. Oh, one of the parts I absolutely hate the most, is when you think you've done a good job answering a question with some good examples, mind you, and then the interviewer has the audacity to pull some Uno reverse card type beat and say,
What would you have done, actually, if this happened instead?
And your mind just goes blank. Next thing you know, you're asking them to repeat and rephrase the question. Like, both of you don't know that you're sitting there storming for time because
you ain't got the answer, Sway.
And after what feels like an eternity, the interview finally comes to an end. And then they ask you if you have any questions you'd like to ask. But the only thing you're thinking is, what's the starting salary? Because the only thing that was said on the job ad was competitive salary and good company benefits. But you're too polite, so you just cop out and ask a question like,
what would you like to see me do in the first 3 months when I begin?
To make it seem like you're interested in the job beyond the money. Then when everything's said and done, they tell you the generic line,
"Thank you. We'll be in touch in the next couple of days to let you know whether you've made it to the next stage of this 5-stage interview process."
And you reply,
"Thank you. You too."
like a schmuck. You spend the next few days contemplating,
why wasn't I investing in Bitcoin in 2016?
So you could have been retired by now instead of getting secondhand embarrassment every single time you think of this day. One day, you get an email from the company. Your heart sinks as you anxiously open it. You wonder to yourself, I wonder if I made it to the next stage. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of another video. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with me. Obviously, it goes without saying, this is satire. Yes, interviews are necessary for companies to find the good from the bad. So, unfortunately, we're not going to get rid of them anytime soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe only if you enjoyed this video. Caress those buttons if you want to see more of Personally Invested. Don't forget to drop a comment if you had an opinion on anything I said in this video or any suggestions for future video topics. Remember, I talk about money, relationships, and general observations about the world around us. Goodbye and have a great week ahead.